Hello everyone out there. Now, I normally try to make it a policy here not to rant on the same subject matter more than once, but I have to make an exception to that rule that I made for myself today. There was a little video on the internet called Fat People Dancing. It was a excerpt from a BBC Channel 3 documentary that detailed and showed what life was like in a nightclub of sorts that was designed for overweight people to go to that weren't accepted in the rest of society. I was kind of, if you will, inspired by this. I thought that was a very neat and unique thing to do. People may think that I'm harsh with my criticism of overweight people, and hey, fine, draw whatever conclusion you want. I think it's great that there would be a club designed for, a niche of any type of person in society, and I mean, hey, more the power to them. It was a great idea, and everyone deserves to have fun in life, fat, thin, or in between, ugly, beautiful, etc., etc. The issues that I had with this video, and you guys out there, you can go watch this video. The tags for it are Fat Dancing and Nightclub. You can watch it for yourself. Now I took some notes here of what I didn't fully agree with, if you shall, and this is what led to my rant for you guys today. The clip first starts off with a bunch of overweight people having a good time, and it looks like a great place for them to hang out. They're kicking back with a few drinks, they're socializing with one another, they're finding people with like interests, etc., etc., much like any typical bar scene or whatever you want to go to hang out on a Friday or Saturday night. Dancing, and which, hey, I was fully for. In that video, I was watching that, I said, hey, they may be overweight, but they're at a place where they're getting physical activity. Maybe the more they hang out places like this, they'll help lose a few pounds and find out that their life is the better for it. But anyways, on to the video here and what I found in contention. I'm going to read you a few excerpts of what was said by the guy narrating this. Do we really need these nights where fat women can be safe from ridicule? This nightclub just underlines the fact that fat people have less of a choice than normal people. Soon they will be the massive majority. Fat discrimination cannot be allowed to continue. We're not stupid, we don't smell, and we are not ugly. The way forward is a one-size-fits-all nation. That shouldn't be so hard to achieve. That is the future. And like I said, conception-wise, this nightclub is a great idea. The narration, however, I find highly, highly, highly argumentative on my behalf. The fact that this gentleman who narrated this, and I'm assuming he was the director and also the guy they were showing on screen, who was an overweight gentleman having a good time with the people in this club scene, the fact that he would say something like, fat is the future, and be okay and happy with that, I have a problem with that. Granted, fat may be the future, and it's looking to be a future for a lot of people thanks to companies like McDonald's and other organizations helping that be the future. But some of the onus has to lie on the person themselves here as well for making fat the future. If fat is the future, then increased disease is the future, increased early death is the future, increased suffering is the future, increased discrimination is the future. And like I said in my other video about the rant against fat people and God, discrimination may not be right, It may be cruel, it may be insensitive, but that's the way it is. Deal with it. People aren't going to change all of a sudden in this society. This was filmed in England. I'm assuming the ways in Europe are much like the mindset that people operate in the States here in America. The fact that this guy, says discrimination cannot be allowed. Discrimination shouldn't be allowed, but it's going to happen. And it's going to be worse if this, laissez-faire attitude of, hey, let's just eat and get over 300 to 500 pounds and, not care if we're going to die off before our grandchildren graduate from high school. It's okay. Let them watch me suffer as a fat slob in a bed for a few years while I die off from diabetes. Can I say, people? It's a cruel world out there. Can't say it's right. I mean, like I said, I like this video from the fact that they created an enjoyable atmosphere for people to be free from discrimination. But to promote this way of life and say, hey, it's okay, fat is the future, let's create a one-size-fits-all nation, which in theory would be great if you could get to that. But like I said, attitudes and the way humans are just ain't gonna happen. It's maybe cruel and insensitive to say that, but that's the reality of the situation. And I also like the fact that this guy used the word fat 500 times in his video. Isn't that a bit discriminating against overweight people to constantly refer to them as fat? I don't know. Over here in America, I thought that was politically incorrect to use that, but I guess it's different in Great Britain. Whatever. Anyway, just wanted to drop a few cents of my knowledge or lack thereof, as many of you will flame this post or whatever. Whatever. Bring it on. I like it. Makes an enjoyable afternoon. I have nothing better to do than read you guys' comments. I welcome them, good, bad, and indifferent. So anyways, just a few words I can leave you with. Fat hopefully isn't the future. Fat hopefully is a problem that will decline. A problem that will hopefully decline the way racism has declined, the way bigotry has declined, the way that the methodology of thinking of many for over 50 to 100 years ago, and on and on and on and on, etc., etc. And I'm not going to get on my high horse about a number of things. And ignore my clock going off in the background. That's the Homer talking. But anyway, fat hopefully isn't the future. I hope that this is not the attitude that takes hold, that it's okay. Eat yourself. Granted, you do have a right to be who you are, but be smart, be smarter. Don't kill yourself off before you have to, people. Don't accept that as a fact that you should or could or would want to live like that. Create advantages for your life. Don't put yourself behind the 8-ball. That's all I can say. I don't regret the fact that I turned my life around and became healthy. I look back on the days when I was fat and out of shape. I was 200 pounds by the time I was 14 years old. Life wasn't fun back then. I had an epiphany in my life in my early teenage years. My adolescent years sucked. And whether people want to say they're happy or not when they're overweight, they gotta know deep down inside that they're suffering and dying, and they're not gonna live on this planet. Odds are they're not gonna live on this planet as long as someone who is physically fit, or even just a maintained weight that is not clinically obese, or someone who doesn't decay their life away by eating McDonald's every day of the week. Anyway, people, try and stay healthy out there. Adios.